we just wanted to share with you some of the latest PenFed credit card hacks that we have actually learned in the last few months. It's been a while since we did an update on PenFed credit cards. So in today's conversation, we thought it was apropos to have a kind of quick update on the latest hacks that really seem to work when it comes to PenFed credit cards. Okay, so here are the steps I really want you to pay attention to. So if you are trying to get approved for a PenFed credit card, it doesn't matter whether you have fair credit, you have poor credit, you have good credit, you have excellent credit. The first thing you want to do here is that you want to actually know your credit score right off the bat. Okay, you got to know your PenFed, your regular credit score, and what you want to do is you want to compare that with your PenFed internal score to see if there is a strong correlation. If there is a gap, if there is a delta, then you know there is a problem. In other words, PenFed might know something that you don't know about. Let me give you an example. Let's say you check your Experian credit score, right? And you have 700. And then your PenFed internal score is probably showing 400 or 450. That gap is too large, which means that PenFed is looking at data and they think, hey, listen, you pose a bigger risk than you think you pose, like in reality. So that means what? It means you have to go back to your Experian credit score, to your credit report. You have to actually pull everything. You can go to annualcreditreport.com, and I want you to analyze everything. I want you to go granular here, okay? Granular, and not just your Experian credit report, also your TransUnion and also your Equifax. The point I'm trying to make here is that you want to have consistency. So if there is consistency between your PenFed credit score and your PenFed internal score and your Experian, TransUnion, or Equifax, then you know you're safe. This is really important before you even apply for your PenFed credit card, okay? By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. I'm just sharing with you real quick, the latest hacks our team has been able to gather from PenFed, and we are talking about insider information. Okay, we've been PenFed members for the last 30 years, 30 to 35 years. All our team members. So we do see stuff, and we always love to share the latest hacks with our beloved viewers. And one thing I want to say here is that when we talk about knowing your credit score, you got to know exactly what band you're in. Okay, and again, whether you are fair, you have poor credit, you have good credit, you have very good, or you have excellent, and it doesn't matter whether we're speaking about FICO or Vantage score. The next thing I want you to do that really seems to work nowadays if you are trying to apply for a PenFed credit card is to really have a clear idea about your needs, okay? It's not about just like, I want to have a PenFed credit card, but the question to you is, what are your needs? Are you looking for a cashback credit card? Are you looking for a card that allows you to do a balance transfer? In other words, you have a 0% credit card, like the gold card from PenFed. Are you looking for a travel rewards credit card? So be very clear about your needs, okay, and your family needs for that matter. It's really important to have a strong correlation between your needs and the card that you're applying for, the benefits that the card you're applying for actually provides, okay? By the way, I want to quickly remind you of today's conversation. We are having a convo about the PenFed credit cards. I'm sharing with you the latest hacks we have that our team was able to gather, and we think things that we are seeing, like when it comes to PenFed credit card, things that we see work all the time. So your needs must be there. So if you're looking for a PenFed credit card for cashback, go for the cashback. If you're going for if you want something for balance transfer, go for the 0% balance transfer card. Okay, do not go for a card that you really don't need simply for the sake of having a PenFed credit card. We see this all the time, like some viewers talking about, I want to have a PenFed credit card because I love the company. Yeah, that's kind of cool, but you are wasting your precious FICO score points. Because imagine you having a hard pull just to get a credit card you're not going to use. I mean, imagine if you have, for instance, if you have if you have a card that allows you to have travel rewards points, but you're not traveling. You're just sitting there somewhere in Teaneck, New Jersey, not traveling. Your ass is on the couch all the time. You're just wasting your precious FICO score points. So if you want a card that allows you to have everyday rewards, get the card that has that. Okay, so please. Number one, you want to know your credit score, and you want to see the delta between your credit score, the delta or correlation for that matter, between your credit score and your PenFed internal score. Second, you want to actually think about your needs and make sure you are getting a car that actually fits your specific needs or those of your family. The third thing I want you to do here, this is really important, we are seeing this a lot, is that PenFed is pretty flexible when it comes to credit card terms. However, one thing they don't want is that you actually you get the card, right, and you just pretend that you don't know the terms and conditions. They really hate that. As a matter of fact, we have seen this, like we have been receiving in the last few months a lot of viewers who are sending us emails about, hey, listen, I'm having problems with my PenFed credit card, blah 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 blah, and you know, all those problems, quote unquote problems, could be summarized, could be summed up in a very simple sentence. Those viewers have no idea about their credit card terms. Let me give you an example. PenFed if PenFed says, you know, your credit card, the APR is 10% to 20%, but there are fees or balance transfer fees. You have cash advance fees, you have penalty fees. Know about those fees. If your card has foreign transaction fees, know about those fees. In general, PenFed as well as Navy Federal does not have fees. Okay, they were very good at that. But if you happen to have a card that has some fees for whatever reason, I can't really analyze every single scenario. But if you have a card, the first thing you want to do here is when you get your credit card statement, I'm not saying you have to read the fine print. No, that's just very complicated. You don't want, nobody does that anyway, unless you have some kind of JD, you have a law degree, whatever. But what I want you to do is to look at your credit card statement and go into the fee section and see what you currently have. Okay, I mean the APR, there's not a problem. I mean you will have to you will have to have some APR anyway. But those fees are important. Now the reason why it's important is that if you do not pay attention to the card you currently have with PenFed, it will be tougher to have an additional card or to even get a credit card, like a credit limit increase. Okay, so if you're not managing the credit card you currently have optimally, or let's say, optimally is the right word, I believe, you want to make sure that you are able to have a relationship with PenFed so that at least you can actually balance things out. Otherwise, it will be very complicated for you to have to be approved. Okay, so first hack, know your credit score. Second hack, think about your needs. Third hack that we have actually found in the last few months, you want to learn about the credit card terms that you have with PenFed. The next thing I want you to do here is to check for pre-approval. Okay, if you want to get approved for a PenFed credit card, please check for pre-approval. The thing is that PenFed actually has a pre-approval process for their loan, but not for the credit card. Like they don't have it, like they have this based on the geography. By the way, PenFed is a nationally present credit union, and everybody can actually apply it. So if you listen to me right now, you're not a member, I just want to let you know that you can apply. You don't have to have military affiliation. You don't have to have some kind of biological affiliation, or you don't have to have some kind of professional affiliation. You don't need any bond, any sort of affiliation, unlike Navy Fed. Okay, so check for pre-approval for your credit card. Now, on the loan side, they have the pre-approval process, so you can actually you can pre-qual for the PenFed loan on the website. For the credit card, they have the pre-qual link, but they have it. Sometimes they have it. They will have it when you log into your dashboard, your user account. You will see it to the right or the left, depends on your configuration. But sometimes they also have it in the app, in the PenFed app. Okay, so those are the two ways where you can pre-qualify for a PenFed credit card. It is worth it. You know why? Because you are trying to preserve whatever FICO score you have anyway. So why go for it? Why risk losing 10 points right off the bat if you have the opportunity to actually go for 0 points? Like you go through a like a soft pull first. And if you like whatever PenFed is offering you, then you can actually just go for the hard pull itself. Okay. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's conversation. Again, I like to contextualize the conversation we're having, so we are on the same page. I'm just sharing with you our latest hacks for a quick approval for your PenFed credit card. I mean, this is I'm just literally giving you the result of our research for the last 3 to 6 months. Okay, things that are working right now, things that are making you actually be approved real fast for a PenFed credit card. And so you want to check for pre-approval. And if you get the loan, like if you get a good credit card, if you get your ideal credit card from PenFed, go ahead and apply. If you believe that it's worth it and whatever they're offering you is really cool, go ahead and apply. The next thing I want you to really think about, and this seems to work a lot, is that you got to think about where you are at in terms of your FICO score before applying for a PenFed credit card, and where you will be at after you actually got approved or denied. In other words, are you in a very dangerous zone, or you kind of cool? Like, do you have bandwidth? This is how we call it. Like, do you have bandwidth? If you are around 750, who cares anyway if you lose 5 points or 10 points? Your ass is fine anyway. But if you have 550, or if you are around the borderline, quote unquote borderline between fair and bad credit, where it really is important, whatever points you are trying to save anything that you can save, then you really want to be very careful here, right? Then you want to really you want to follow everything that you're losing, every point that you're losing. Okay, this is kind of interesting. Sometimes, like 2 days ago, I was at a party, right, and I was just talking to some very old friends who have been PenFed members like me for the last 30 years, and we've just been talking about the impact of a few points on your credit. And the conversation was pretty interesting in the sense that there is a strong correlation between your credit score and your PenFed score. And most of the folks at the party were just like, they were more worried about their PenFed internal score than they were about their FICO score. This tells you a lot about the importance of being a lifelong member of PenFed and all the benefits that come with it. Okay, so bottom line here is you got to be prepared. You got to ask yourself, is it worth it for me? Like, is it really worth it to actually lose a couple of points, 10 points, 15 points? It depends. And maybe what you want to do here is maybe do not apply for another credit card for, like, if you are thinking about applying for a PenFed credit card and you have found your preferred card, your ideal card, don't apply for another credit card, so that you just wait a little bit. You just pace yourself, okay? Just wait a little bit so that the impact on your FICO score, on your FICO report overall is not as detrimental, okay? It could be just a 5 point, 10 points, but you will still be okay. But don't do this if you are at the borderline between bad and fair credit, or fair and good. So if you're around the borderline, be very careful. If you're around the borderline between excellent and good, I mean, you're okay. So one thing I want you to really think about, if you are trying to be approved real fast for a PenFed credit card, is and this is working like crazy right now, is when you actually apply for a PenFed credit card, make sure that you are able to demonstrate to them that you can repay whatever you charge on the card. See, this sort of a reverse analysis works fantastically. Let me explain. Let's say you are applying for a PenFed credit card and you say, listen, I want a 10 grand credit limits. Okay, 10 grand credit limits. If I'm charging like 1,000, if I'm leaving 1,000, or if I'm charging 2 grand, you have to be able to show PenFed that your current income, this could be your 9 to 5 or your business, your side gigs and whatnot, that your aggregate income is sufficient enough to cover your current cost of living, in addition to the $1,000 you want to charge on the PenFed credit card. So we call it reverse analysis. This is how they call it too internally at PenFed. So they do this reverse analysis to see whether or not you have what we call, bandwidth. Like, you have capacity, you have budgetary capacity. You're able to repay whatever you charge on the card. And to see, the thing is that a lot of applicants, people just apply for a credit card hoping to get something. They hope to get some limit, like some decent limit, and they can start using the card. But they never do this reverse analysis I'm talking to you about. So I want you to really start doing that right now. So you need to determine a repayment strategy. You got to have the money that comes in every month anyway, so that when you charge something on the card, you know that you're able to repay everything. I'm not saying you have to pay everything, but that's the ideal world where you have a CUR, a credit utilization ratio that is 0, right? In other words, you're just paying whatever you charge on the card anyway. But if you don't have that amount, just make sure that you are able to maintain a CUR of 25 to 30% maximum on the card once you get approved. Okay, so you can also try to estimate your monthly payments. You can try to set up an auto pay option. You can try to also think about the best way to avoid late payments, because the whole thing is, when you really think about it, the whole thing is just to maintain a great relationship with PenFed in the first place, right? So that you can be approved for credit cards over and over and over. The next thing I want you to really think about here is that when we talk about PenFed credit cards, we want to talk about, like, again, I'm sharing with you the latest hacks, okay? What is working right now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, what's working right now. You want to pay attention to the information that you're actually gathering. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that when we talk about PenFed credit cards in general, okay, you need to actually have the right information. And I'm not talking about your name, first name, last name. I'm talking about the evidence that the evidence you're showing. So we're talking about what? We're talking about you actually having, like, if you have to prove income, you better make sure that you can prove income, and I'm saying really sure. So it has to be your W-2s. It has to be your direct deposit. If you're not getting a direct deposit through a PenFed account, make sure that you are able to show them that on a bank statement from another institution. Okay, and make sure that you actually have your 1099s. If you have a business gig on the side, just make sure that you are able to show your 1065 if you have an LLC, or your 1120S if you have an S corporation, or 1120 if you have a C corporation. So when we talk about proof of income, we're actually casting a larger net, a wider net. Okay, this is really important to remember, because PenFed goes that granular. They really go into detail to really understand what kind of income you are bringing to the table, what kind of income, what kind of skin you are having in the game, what kind of income you want the underwriters at PenFed to actually take into account. And one thing I also want to say here is that you need to understand that if you want to have, like, PenFed does not offer business credit cards, but we know folks who actually use their personal credit cards for their sole proprietorship. Not for their regular business, but for their sole proprietorship. Okay, so this could be a possibility too. So I mean, so it is. This is why I'm just saying that it is normal, or it is expected that you show business income to kind of support your application. Okay, and the last thing I want you to really think about when we think about PenFed credit cards is the way you apply. Okay, you can apply actually over the phone, for example. So you got to choose a method to apply, and you need to follow the associated steps. It could be on PenFed's website. It could be in person. You can go to a branch. You can just go to a branch and apply for a credit card there. This always works. Okay, it doesn't matter. Like 30 years ago, it was working. 10 years ago, it was working. Today is working, and I'm sure 10 years from now it will work because PenFed loves. The folks at PenFed, they love human relationships. They love to talk to someone. They love to actually know who's behind an account. Like they have very friendly staff. Whatever, it depends. It doesn't matter. Whatever you end up at, whatever branch you end up at, you will see a friendly face ready to kind of help you out. Okay, so you can apply over the phone. Also, you can apply through the mail. So you do have a variety of ways whereby you can actually apply for a PenFed credit card. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just sharing with you our latest hacks when it comes to PenFed credit cards. What really is working right now. Okay, not yesterday, not tomorrow. What's working right now for you to get the card that you need. Okay, know your credit score and what it means. You want to think about your needs. You want to learn about the important credit card terms you see on your PenFed card agreement. You need to check for pre-approval if possible, and think about the impact from the hard pull on your PenFed internal score and your credit score for that matter, okay, and determine a prepayment or a repayment strategy. Gather the necessary information and choose a method to apply and follow the associated steps. Thank you. God bless you. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.